Hello. Here we are back again. Day two. Day two of Wake Up. Now when you come in, I would like a sun in the comments. Put a sun emoji in the comments when you come in today. And if you watch the replay, make sure you do the same thing. Come in, put replay, and put the sun in. Now this funny computer might be doing some little funny buggers on me. No, here we go. Okay, cool. Doesn't tell me viewers, but I can see comments. That is amazing. Now, if you're wondering, I'm shuffling this deck of cards here. I made some affirmation cards. Oh, here we go. Viewers have come up. I made some affirmation cards with the help from my daughter. Maybe, yeah, there we go. It keeps coming back to the one that I chose the other day. That's funny. And I just thought I'd pick one out for us today to see where we're at. So if you just joined us, we want a sun in the comments for Wake Up. Wake up, wake up. Oh, this is a really nice one. There is joy and beauty in every day. So I'd like you to start your day with that each day, and just for the rest of today, just think about it. In every moment there is joy and beauty, but you can only see what you're looking for. And I know for a lot of my life, I was just looking at it as a victim, and all I could see was all the things that didn't work out for me. Okay, so comments have stopped. Let's see if I can get them to start again. All right, yes we go. Here we go. Hi Irene, hi Angela, hi Katie. Morning Andy, how's your holiday going? Nice that you're on live today. Sharon, thank you so much for being here. Hi Cheryl, winner winner. Hey Helen, hey Haley, hi Jamie. All right, so thanks Sharon. Sometimes when you write something in, hey, the emoji comes up for it. Sometimes it doesn't work. That's all good. All right, how are you feeling today? Let me know on a scale of 1 being not so good and 10 being, oh my God, I woke up this morning with a spring in my step and I cannot wait to get started on my day. That's how you woke up this morning. Maybe you had some newfound energy that you were just so happy that you had. So tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, how did you feel this morning when you woke up? And did it start yesterday? Did it start when you really got into thinking about, what do I truly want? What am I trading my time for? Because that's exactly what you're doing. You're trading time, your time, for the life that you've got right now. Is it what you want? Or are you tiptoeing through life to make it safely to death? When somebody told me that statement, I was just like, oh my God, I'm just going through the motions every day. Somebody told me that this is what I have to do. My accountant told me a few years ago, the accountant I had back then, told me I just keep doing the same thing now for the next 20 years and that's it. And I was like, what? Are you for real? That's it for the next 20 years? I just thought that just didn't sit well with me. So I decided to change it. And so now I do what I want, when I want, go where I want. And it just all falls into place. But I had to change. I couldn't keep coming to life as the victim. I had to change something about me. And it was not just one thing, it was a whole group of things. But you know, when you start changing one thing, a lot of other things change too. I was feeling about a 9.5 today. Here we go. Okay. 8 after I watched your replay this morning. Well done. Great stuff for helping, like doing things to help you get up there, Irene. I'd much prefer it if you stayed up there all the time. Anyway, I'm ready to help you when you are. Holiday's fantastic. Well done. Well done, Andy. Okay. Do you find that you maybe after yesterday and you've done your vision board? Who actually did their vision board? Hands up if you got the chance to do it. Maybe you haven't posted it yet and that's okay, but you took some time and you worked out a few things that you wanted to trade your life for, trade your time for. You wanted to start creating a new life. Tell me who has, like, just put your hand up in the comments there or say me in the comments, and you got clearer on what you wanted. I wish these comments would keep moving for me. And how does it feel? How does it feel having a vision for your future? Hey, Jen. Oh, good. We've got some hands up there. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. All right, today we're talking about the knowing doing gap today. But first of all, let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. Remember that there's prizes. For just being a part of this training, you go into a draw if you do at least one of the things that we asked. So last week, Monday through to Friday, we put up things that you could do each day to go into the draw to win one of these little bad boys, a journey to success. So I'm pretty sure I've got 180 days in there. I'm pretty sure 6 months worth of how you can journal your way to success without having to work with me just yet. So you can get one of those, or maybe you've already worked with me and you just need to keep that accountability going and keep that direction, because consistency pays. Consistency, when you are doing the same thing over and over again, but it's not getting you the results, something has to change, hey? You know that what you're doing has to change. But if you want consistency, you have to turn up with the same energy. If you want consistent results, you need to turn up in the same energy every day. It really doesn't have much to do with what you do, because your actions will always come from your thinking and your feelings. So we don't have to so much change your actions. They will automatically change. What we have to do is change your thinking, because the thinking starts everything. So if you're not aligned with what you want and you're not thinking into the result that you want, chances are you're thinking yourself out of it. You will be thinking about all the things that aren't working. You'll be thinking about the people that aren't working with you, or the company that's not taking you on, or the people that just aren't doing what you want, or maybe your kids aren't doing what you want. Whatever it is, you will be looking at all the things that aren't happening if you are not focused on thinking into the results that you do want. And I know that because I used to do it myself. Yes, I got some great results, but most of the time I was focused on what wasn't there, which led me to come home and be an angry person, which led me to not have very good business relationships as well. So think about what the actions that you're taking are, and that's what today is all about, the knowing doing gap, closing that, knowing versus doing. I think every single one of you know that there's a better life out there for you, and that you can have anything that you want, because you cannot want something you can't have. But when you think about something, you bring it about. Really think about that. What I think about, I bring about. How many of you, and show me by a raise of hands, have thought about somebody and then they've rung you on the phone, or you've passed them down the street, or they've turned up on Facebook, or somebody else has mentioned them in a conversation? Who's had that happen? Valentina has. Beautiful, beautiful. And I think a lot of you have. Like, I know that these days with our phones and everything like that, that it does listen and it can bring about all sorts of different things because it hears our conversations. But just think about, like, I just think about me last week or the week before. We were on our way down to Adelaide to watch Ursula. Man, she was a bit funny. And I got an email and somebody said to me, Polly, how come you've asked to come off the Lexus list? And because I used to have a Lexus. If you didn't know, it was beautiful red leather on the inside, white on the outside. And it was a beautiful car, and it still is a beautiful car. Now I have a Porsche, and like once you drive a V8, like a GTS, and then you hop back into that beautiful Lexus, there's no comparison really. So I had that car down in Adelaide for a year, and because I lived down in Adelaide for 4 or 5 months last year, so it made sense to keep it down there. And when I came back and drove back to Catherine in the Lexus, I was like, I think I'm bringing up the Porsche. So I did. But I still love their golf day. And so when they reached out and said, Polly, how come you off the list? And now you're coming to the golf day, I was like, I tried to ring somebody to tell them that I don't have a Lexus anymore, and maybe maybe they could still let me come. Anyway, they didn't answer the phone. But then my friend rang me up and said, Polly, you going to the Lexus golf day? And I'm like, yeah, don't have a Lexus anymore. She said, oh, good, you can come with me. So whatever you think about, you are bringing about, as long as you get out of the way and allow yourself to receive it. So in part of the knowing, doing gap, you've got to learn the art of receiving. You really do. And that can mean different things in different moments. But you've got to make those cognitions. You're the one that has to see what's going on in your life and ask yourself, okay, what do I want? And what changes will I have to make to have that? Now, you will not have a paradigm that supports it. You will not have a habit that supports what you want if you don't already have it. And habits are funny things. If you decide, I'm just going to delete a habit, if you do not have another conscious habit, like a habit that is going to take its place on a different frequency, one on the same frequency will come in. And I will explain that to you in a moment. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the quiz. So if you've gone and seen the last week's entries into to win my beautiful book pack, and you started entering, well done. Just make sure you tag Maggie and I in it. Also, that happened from the 1st of July, or maybe it was the 3rd of June, is 21 days of trivia. And Andy's in charge of that quiz. So if you haven't started to answer those questions, they're still all there that you can go back and have a look, because I'm going to give all the answers to you all on Friday in another, not in the wake up, but in a different context. I was going to do another live and give you all the answers. And just for your own knowledge, go and start to answer some of them. The one that gets the most right is going to win the pack, or whatever prize I choose. So I think I was looking for a nice book to give you as well. Whoever knows the most, and I want you to understand this, the more you know, like your name, that you don't doubt, the more action you're going to take to get you towards your goal. It's the knowingness that creates the doingness. So what do you know about yourself? What do you know is true, or maybe what do you don't believe you know just yet? Like, there's a lot packed into today. So the laws of the universe are real. Does anybody here, have you all heard about gravity? I'm pretty sure you would have. I think they teach it in school. So if I drop my phone, I don't think any of you are going to doubt that it's going to go down, because gravity brings things to the center of the earth. Nobody argues about that. But how many of you before today have heard about the law of attraction? Now, I know there's going to be a few of you, but do you ever think that it's always working? It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop and go, hang on a minute, Polly is thinking about some bad shit here. Maybe we'll just turn that attraction off for a moment, and just until she gets her shit together, then we'll turn it back on. That doesn't happen. So we've got to be a little bit more switched on or conscious about what we're doing each day. And this is why you've got to get conscious about changing what you do daily. Because whatever you do daily and the energy that you are in daily is what's creating your results now, today. Yes, it's going to be your past, thoughts, feeling and actions, and today and yesterday, because maybe you've changed a bit. You'll be starting to already change your attraction code. Now I say code because, like, whatever you put out is what you are going to get back in. When you change that frequency, that transmission, you change what goes out, what you get back is different. You'll start to see that maybe you smile a bit more, and what you get back is people smiling back. Not always. There's some people out there that just don't know how to crack a smile, and it's okay. That's not about you. That's about them. But what are you putting out? What are you aligned with? And check your thinking. You created this beautiful vision board yesterday if you did the homework. Now, a lot of people don't do the homework. They just don't do it. And look, I've been coaching now for 5 years, and there are some times when I tell people to go and do something, they don't do it. And then they come on retreat so that they will do it, because there is actually a sit down time to do it, and they don't leave until it's done. So maybe that's something that you have to do, is sit here today and just assign yourself some time. A lot of people don't make time for themselves, and they have to go on a retreat to do the things that they don't do in their own time at home. And that's why I created the retreats, because I could see a lot of people have so much potential in them, but they let themselves down because they don't make the time for themselves. And that's part of the knowing doing gap too. When you do not make space for yourself, you are letting yourself down. It's not about anybody else, it's all about you. Now, the law of attraction is always working, and it gives you back exactly what you put out. And so if you're thinking angry thoughts, it will give you back more thoughts to think about anger and to feel anger. And then ask yourself, what sort of actions do I take when I'm angry? I used to be somebody that if I had a coffee cup in my hand or a tea cup or something like that, I'd throw it into the sink. Or I'd throw it across the room. That's one thing I did. Slam doors is another thing. When I'm feeling angry or frustrated, I would slam doors. Get in the car and just put my foot down. I don't do that anymore because it goes a little bit too fast. But think about, what are some of your angry actions? And did you have to sit there and think about, I'm going to do this, or did they just naturally happen that way? And can you relate them back to maybe when you were growing up, you seeing somebody else do that? We are habitual people. We are a beingness that likes to create habits. And once we create a habit, it's so that we can consciously do something else instead, so that we become more efficient. I've got a few notes here, so I'm just looking down, going through them. So really start to think about using the law of attraction, and start thinking about, how have I already been using it? It is always working, always, always, always. And you are the center of it. So think of yourself as the center of the earth, and you are attracting everything to you by what you think about. What you think about, you bring about. So when we think about something, we automatically have a feeling attached. And it's good or bad. That's it, really. It's a good feeling or a bad feeling. It's a feeling of love or a feeling of lack. And there are different scales for each one. Mags, maybe we can email everybody out the emotional scale when we email out today's questions and today's growth work. So there's an emotional scale. So sometimes when we're feeling like real anxiety or real frustration, maybe a better feeling would be blame. Like we can blame it on somebody else, but it gets us out of that emotion. And then once we get to blame, we could go, well, actually, I just did this thing and they made me take responsibility for everything. So if I take 100% responsibility, I can't really blame anybody. So, okay, and then she's talking about, let's find what's good today. So, all right, so I look for what's good. Then there's optimism. That is a different frequency as well. So what you need to learn to do is bring yourself up the emotional scale. Now, when you become a master at these sorts of things, you can see how you can flip things around, but you've got to know which is better than the other. You've got to know that there is such a thing before you can do it. Is this making sense to everybody? You know what, Jess? And I'm so glad that you do that, Jess. There's a thing for pilots that if they come to work and their emotional scale is low, they are not allowed to fly planes. Because if they're on a negative emotional vibration, then they're not going to make very good choices, or they're not going to be conscious enough to make good choices while they're in the air, and they send them home. So it's so good because emotions drive actions. So thinking creates feeling, which are emotions, okay? Feelings is energy and motion. It's just the vibration that you're on. And because your feelings automatically create your actions. You think about that, especially driving a helicopter, you don't have much room to play around with. It's just, not that I've ever driven one, but I'm guessing that they're pretty, like they only have that little joystick thing, like airplanes sort of have maybe a bit different, I don't know, they got wings and stuff, so I'm guessing here, but you don't have much time to play with, so you've got to make quick decisions. And if you are coming from a place of lack, or a place of anger, your decisions will be clouded, your actions will be clouded. And the same happens in all situations. Like, you think about it, if you're in a really happy state, yes, not much room for error. Thank you, they're great words. If you're in a negative emotional state and somebody comes in and they're not happy, what are you going to do? You're just going to attack straight back. However, if you're in a place and you know where you're going, you're like, okay, I'm going to turn this business around. Just pretend that you've just bought a business and you turn it around. You go, I'm going to turn this around. And this angry person has come in. You have a vision. You already know, okay, this is how I turn up now. And we're going to go through this a bit today. This is how I turn up now. So when that person comes in, I am going to meet them at their emotional scale. Like, oh, I totally get where you're coming from. Oh, that would really piss me off too. Okay, how can we help you? And straight away, you'll come up. They may not come with you, but if you hold yours, they will tune into you. Because nobody wants to stay angry like that. But you've got to sometimes meet, that's rapport, right? Rapport. Meeting somebody where they're at and then helping them bring up. Now, I've tested this on my kids. They'll go to town and they have called me all sorts of things, and I've just gone in and I'm like, okay, how can I help you? And they're like, what? I said, well, blah, 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 whatever. And they're like, so, but how can I help you? What support do you need from me? And they're like, how do you be so nice? I can't stay angry at you when you're like that, Mum. I'm like, well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because you're only going to get back what you stay in emotional contact with. So let's bring them up. And you can do this. That's a skill that you can learn. Anyway, got a little bit off track here. So emotions are energy in motion. Watch your emotions. Keep a track of them. Just start over the next day or so, or this whole week. Just start to figure out what thinking creates certain emotions. Now, there's some little sayings, right, that, you know, when you think about the law of attraction, people say, oh, the rich always get richer. Why do you think that is? Is it because they don't have many hang-ups about money? They're not thinking about the lack of it? And so worry, okay, Irene, if you're worried, what are you doing? Worrying is negative goal setting. You're worrying about something that hasn't happened yet and you're bringing it in. And the law of attraction will give you more opportunities and circumstances to help you stay there and focus and feel that. So maybe you'll get a bill from the taxation office. We probably all had them. And then the next thing that comes in is something else. If you stay looking at these things as negative, you're just attracting more and more things that you could perceive as negative. Now, you have an intellectual ability there. You have an intellectual faculty that you can change how you perceive something. So you could look at your tax bill and go, okay, I only get a tax bill if I'm making money, so I must have made some money to get a bill. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And instantly you can change the way that you feel. Any worry, if held long enough, will just create those circumstances. Worrying is negative goal setting. Setting goals like we did yesterday, and vision boards and visualizing is positive goal setting. Thinking about what you want. So it's think about what you want or think about what you don't want. The choice is yours. You're both are right. Both will attract to them exactly what's in harmony with them. But you've got to ask yourself, what do I want? Do I want to keep living this way? Is this what I want my life to be? Is this the legacy I want to leave behind? What sort of role model am I for my children? So I want you to think about this. This is part of your homework tonight, growth work tonight. So Think about over the last 12 months or so. And it could be that maybe you only have to go a month and you'll find enough. It could be that you need to go longer. It's up to you. But if you just take a snapshot and think about the times that you've laid awake at night worrying, or that you've really lost your shit, or that you've done something that you're not real happy about. Think about those moments and write down the whole situation. Just make a few notes about it. Like, you don't have to write it word for word, but just it's a story. When I first started my retreats, the first retreat I did, I called it Change Your Story, Change Your Life. Now I call them Nourish, because I do nourish body, mind and soul, but it's still about changing your story. We look at some of the things that have happened in your past and we get you to change the way that you think about them, and then write a whole new self-image for yourself and how you're going to turn up when you go back out into the world. But your story is what will keep you stuck, or it will break you free. And you write your own story. Nobody has to write it for you. You might have given it to somebody else, and somebody else might have had the rights up until today, but from this moment onwards, they're yours. And you get to do with whatever you want. I had a story going on that I used to have to ask permission before I went anywhere. I used to have to ask permission before I could use money. I used to have to jump through hoops to be able to do things. And it was because that was my story. That was my belief, because I watched that's the way my parents did it. Somebody was the boss in the family and the other person had to ask permission. There was no equal rights. And if one earned more money than the other, then they had more rights. And it was never a mutual thing. And it was always a competition. When my husband and I got together, we made the same amount of money. But then I gave up work to have children. So of course I'm then the lesser, because I brought in less money. Didn't matter that I was just staying at home with 3 kids or anything, but no, I brought in less. So of course then I had and this was all my own mentality. This is what I thought had happened, how it had to happen. And I lived that way for so long, and I was a victim of my own life. Can't do anything because I'm this and I'm that. And that was the story I was making up. Just make up a new story. It's all made up anyway. You're made up. You are not who you think you are. And you're not who anybody else thinks you are. You are who you think they think you are. So it's made up. You think that somebody thinks this of you, and that's how you turn up with them. You're like, oh, this person thinks that I'm really neat, so I better fucking clean the house before they come along. And this person thinks that I've got a heap of money, so I better put this on when they come around. And this person thinks that I'm really great with food or something like that, so I really have to make sure that it's done for you. And da-da-da-da, like, you think so many things that are not true. You are a spiritual being. We are all the same. You are a spiritual being. And you turn your thoughts into things. That's the crux of it. Yeah, good stuff, Sharon. Nice realization there. So I want you to find at least five areas in your life that are not going to plan. Not going to the plan that you want for your life, that you're trading this time for. You're trading, like, remember what I said wealth was for me yesterday? Time, freedom to do what I want. Well, it's time to do what I want, when I want, and the freedom to be there. That my thinking is not elsewhere. I'm not worried about, oh my God, I'm down here in Adelaide, how am I going to pay this? Or I'm over on a cruise somewhere, how's this going to go? I can be present. So then how do I turn up differently? Well, I turn up knowing that it's all going to work out. That any challenge that comes along is perfect for where I'm at or where I'm going. Now, when you start to change your levels of vibration, some people may drop away. It may not align with them. That is perfectly okay. You may lose some friendships. You may lose some business deals. There is nothing wrong with that. Just know that everything is working out for you. Everything is working out for you. and it's working out for the vibration you're in. So then you've got to check yourself in and go, okay, am I thinking like I would when I'm there? Am I feeling the joy of, or the top 5 feelings I would feel when I'm there? Good, Cheryl. And then am I acting like that person? Am I really showing that it's all working out? And this is something that we're going to do in the next day or so. And do I put my wants first? And do I allow my personal standards to shine? You may not know what your personal standards are, but that's okay. I had a run-in with somebody not very long ago, and they play on your mind a little bit when somebody, and I told you a bit about it yesterday, when somebody says some negative things about you, and they sort of do, and they get you to question yourself a bit, like, am I that? Am I that? Yeah, am I selfish? Yeah, I am actually. And it's okay to be selfish, because otherwise I'm fulfilling somebody else's goal. I'm being who they want me to be, and I'm not being true to myself. So yes, okay, selfishness is good. That's a good thing. Polly, you teach this, is okay. So then when I had this dream the other night, and it was like I set these personal standards with my coach last week on Wednesday, and I set these standards, and I'm like, this is my standards now, that I'm not gonna worry too much if people don't meet them, then that's okay. They don't play a part in my life, or as big a part in my life. I don't just rule people out. It's just like, okay, at this point in my time, because they don't meet that standard, then maybe they won't be a part of my life anymore. And I had this dream that they just turned up at my house and they wanted to move in with me and be a part of my life, and I'm just like, oh, I can't do that. I'm sorry, I can't. And like, it was me. This is where consciousness sort of comes in. And using your imagination, like you used all creative vision yesterday, and there'll be times when all these things start to play around your mind, like, how am I going to act in this situation? How am I going to act in this situation? And your mind is looking, and your brain is looking for cognitions. It's looking for how to turn up, because you're in unknown charted territory here. You don't know how you're going to turn up on these things. So your mind is going, okay, so if we're doing this, how do we turn up? And you're like, oh, I really don't know. So it's looking for ways to create those scenarios for you, so that then when it does happen, you're like, oh, I've got this sorted. And you're not freaking out with anxiety and stuff in the moment. So like, this is the way that my mind works anyway. So a lot of the times I do have dreams about ways that I will turn up different. And there was a really like a guilt pull there. It's just like, oh, I feel guilty saying no. However, that's putting you first, and putting this person first, and not me. So, okay, I've got to let that go and say no. And I have such a really hard time with saying no to some people and some situations, because the first time I said no, somebody left me and my friendship and said that I was blah, 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 the same sort of words that the last person said to me. I'm like, okay, you keep creating this, Paul, so you've got to change your personal standards. You've got to change who you are and who you turn up as. So as soon as you change that, you get some kickback, or you get your brain is trying to figure out, okay, how do we turn up now? So then this is what I'm asking you to do, and doing it consciously. So you create some scenarios. So you go through the 5 things that in the last, I don't know, little while, don't go back too far, because we don't want to be dredging up bad things, or old things, but just think about some of the things that have created an emotional, like, discord with you. Write it out, and then write what you wish you had have done. The most things that people regret is not the things that they didn't do, or they don't regret the things that they did do. They regret more the things that they didn't do. And you will probably spend more time thinking, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done this, I wish I had said this, and I wish I... Now, make sure you're coming from the right energy, of coming from the place that I always get what I want, and I get it with love. And it's love for myself. And I send those other people love that are not in harmony with me. So make sure you're in the right energy, and write out the new story of what you wish you had have done and what you could have done better. So it's not yelling and screaming or anything like, how could I have dealt with this situation better? Because it's mainly the things that either they you take on that you're lesser from a situation, or that you didn't turn up as your true self or as your best self. So when we start to change these stories and you really get the cognitions and you start to turn up differently, everything in your life starts to shift. So you're going to find these 5 moments or so, write it out the way it was on one sheet of paper. And maybe you'll have 5 sheets of paper or 5 little stories. And then you're going to create some new stories with a different perception. Go back and look at them. And when anybody else says something negative to you, it's not about you. It's about them. We take it on because we believe what other people say about us. And we're not creating our own beliefs. And like some of these things, okay, so some of these things could be you want to give up smoking, and I just play around with a few things here. Maybe you want to give up smoking. Now I've done this, right? 15 years ago I gave up smoking. So, but it took me 10 years to do it. It's quite funny, eh? You smoke for a little while and then it takes you 10 years to give up. But the first few times that I gave up, I didn't have another habit to take its place. So if you've got a habit on this vibration and you want to get rid of it, you either have to consciously create a habit on a different level, or another one on that level will just take its place. So I'm sure that you know somebody that's maybe given up smoking and they've taken up vaping, or they've given up vaping and they've taken up smoking, or they gave up smoking and they started drinking real sugary drinks or alcohol through a straw. That's what I did. I was drinking drinks through a straw. So really think about it. What are they trading the habits in for? Because that's one of the most important things you got to think about. What habit am I trading this one in for? And if you do not consciously create a habit on a higher vibration, one on this level will take its place and you will get nowhere. You will just be trading. Now, Bob Proctor, my coach, when I first started this, he stopped drinking and went across the road and started gambling instead. And started going to the casino and burning money. So you think about it, it's the same sort of vibration, right? I'm given, I don't know how much they were back then, but say these days I'm trading in $50 a day in smoking, and I'm going out to the TAB at lunchtime instead and putting $50 on the horses or the dogs. Same level. It may not be the same action, but it's the same level. You've got to consciously create new ones. And that's what this exercise is going to do for you. So you look at what you've done in the past in these situations and you go, okay, I actually could have done this better. And I actually could have done this better. And you're going to make a list of all these productive things that you could have done better. One thing that I like to ask the question of when I work with people, and especially with my family, what do you mean by that? Because some people just sprout off a thing, and because I've got my belief system, right? Like my belief system is a sieve or a filter that all this information comes through and it's filtered through my belief system. And then I come out and I churn out a belief about it, like what I believe they're saying. So now I go, okay, can you just explain what you actually mean by that? If I don't get it, or if I'm making up a story and I'm making up a negative one, I ask, what do you mean by that? Because most of the time what I think they mean and what they actually mean are two different things, and you can end up having an argument and you're like, I wasn't meaning it like that. I was actually meaning it like this. Then what you're going to do with those new ones is you're going to keep a list of them. Maybe you have to keep them on your fridge. Maybe you have to put them somewhere else, but you're also going to post them. So you're going to do 2 posts today, and it's going to get you 2 entries into the drawer. So the first one you're going to do is you're going to burn all that old stuff. Don't post pictures of the old stuff. We don't want to see it. You don't want to put more energy in that than it's worth. It's for you to get clear. You write out a scenario, a bit of a story. You write what you could have done better. You pick out what are the actual steps that you could do. So you think about the smoking one. Smoking, instead of a cigarette, I have celery sticks cut up in the fridge. And each time I go to the cigarette, go for a cigarette, I go and take a few deep breaths and eat a celery stick. There's a habit trade, right? So we have to trade up. You figure out for you what your trade ups will be. and you burn the old stuff, burn the old stories, burn the old habits, and you just have a list of the new ones, and you post that too. So take a picture of you burning it, or you can video yourself burning it, whatever works for you. Maybe you can get 2 points for actually videoing, doing a live while you're burning it. And then make a list of the new ones, post your new habits. Now there could be 10 or 12 habits in there. How many are we going to do at a time? We're only going to bring 1 or 2 in at a time. If you try and change 10 habits at the same time, you are demanding so much consciousness of yourself that you will get pretty tired. And you won't be able to be present where you're at. You'll be too busy worrying about the next thing you have to do, the next thing that you have to do. So maybe if it's like, that's an easy one for the smoking, maybe it's yours is press snooze 3 times before you get out of bed. And you get out of bed and then you're all flustered and you're yelling and screaming at the kids to get ready for school or whatever else, and da 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 da, and you go, yeah, okay, if I change that, the mornings are going to be a whole lot calmer. Everybody would get to school a lot better. Maybe the kids would concentrate more at school. Maybe they'd talk to me more, da da da. Like there's a whole different story you can make up there. So you can go, okay, I've stopped pressing snooze. I got out of bed on time. I got everything ready. Everybody was on time, and we had time for a conversation in the car instead of deathly silence because we just lost our shit at each other. So maybe that's your habit for you, is that you just stop pressing snooze. Maybe yours is in business and you're always getting late notes from the ATO or something that you're never on time, and if you don't start to pull your act together, you're going to start getting fined for it. And you're like, okay, so on the 20th I'm going to set an alarm in my calendar and a notification that it tells me to get my BAS done and get it paid before the cutoff. We all know it's bound at 20, whatever it is, 20 something. So maybe that's your new habit pattern. But start to change now. You've got to change. You've got to change you for the circumstances to change. You cannot wait for the circumstances to change before you change. You're going to go down with a sinking ship. You've got to be the change that you want to see. And like you think about it, if you want more love in your relationship, you got to start putting more love out. Be nicer, be sweeter. We did this on retreat, not with each other, but just playing around with ideas of how we could bring more love and joy into relationships. So think about these things, because you're it. You're the point of attraction. If you don't like what you're attracting, you have to change your point of attraction. And this is what your work is. You know, the job that you go to, you should go to that thing for a sense of achievement and a sense of accomplishment and for satisfaction. Your job is to continuously keep on trading up and trading in old habits for new ones. Okay, I've already started doing this, change my mindset. Good, good. Polly, you're very good at spelling. Oh, it is written right. Maybe I just need to put my glasses on. Okay. And you've got to come from, and we're going to go through that on another day this week too. Now, remember, you have to be really clear on what it is that you want. You don't just walk into a restaurant, do you, and say, oh, just give me a steak, and then go and sit down. You ask, I would like a T-bone. I would like it medium rare. I would like vegetables and no sauce, thank you. Or whatever it is that how you order your steak. You never ever just go in and say, just give me what you got. Because you will get whatever they've got, which probably not what you're asking for. So be really clear. And the other thing is, you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes. And this is where a lot of people fall a bit short. They'll start out tomorrow and they'll be like, yes, I'm changing this, I'm going to change this. And it gets a bit tedious, and especially if you have to do a lot of do-overs. Can you imagine that, like, the first time you went for a cigarette, you actually went and had one? And you're like, oh, I just screwed it up. Right. The next one, I'm going to have the celery. Then the next thing, like, before too long, there'll be some moment in time that gets you to feel like a cigarette, and then you go out and you're like, oh, I just had another one. I just had a puff, or I had half of one. You can either beat yourself up, or you can just go, okay, get clearer and clearer in my mind what I want. and get clearer and clearer in my mind what I can do differently. And you keep working on that cognition. And you've got to be willing to do that over and over and over and over and over again until it becomes a habit. And that's what a lot of people aren't willing to do. They're like, this is way too hard. This is not. And because I have to be conscious of each time I went to go and have a cigarette, I've got to create something else instead. That is way too much work for me, and I don't want to do it. It's easier just to keep smoking. And I know this because I've done this many, many times. And then 3 months later, oh God, I'm so sick of this. All right, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go for it again. And this is where having accountability, having somebody there or a group of people there to help you through these moments, and somebody to maybe see, have you tried it this way? Have you seen that this is your habit pattern? Have you seen that it's these sorts of moments that get you so rolled up that get you to do that? And if you changed how you looked at that, then that could stop doing that. Like, that's some of the key to actual growth and for smashing it. You think about everybody that is really good at something. You think about Olympians, CEOs, actors, they all have a mentor. They all have somebody that takes them by the hand and shows them step by step on what to do and how to do it. But they have to reach that point there that they go, I just can't do this on my own anymore. I need somebody to push me a bit further. I need somebody to stop allowing me to keep doing the same thing that I keep doing. And of course, there's a trade. That's the same thing. Like, you think about, I could go to school and I could learn how to be a plumber and fix a lot of my plumbing issues. I don't have time for that. I'm just going to trade some money for somebody else to come and do it and help me with it. Does that make sense to you all? Like, you could all probably cut your own hair. It may not be a very good job, but you'd get it eventually. And you can't start tomorrow. You can't wait until next year. You can't wait until somebody else changes, or my husband gives me permission, or my wife says yes, or my kids are older in school or anything like that, because this is your life. You got to start trading your habits in now. You know, most of the habits that you've got were not yours. They were given to you. They were taught to you. So you change habits with joy, knowing that whatever you do from this moment onwards is going to bring you what you want. And it's a habit of thinking first. You've got to really start to think into the results that you want. Now, your list could be thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Okay? It can be some things of what you do out, like maybe like the smoking, that is an actual action or behavior. Some things it can be about the ATO, change your thinking. Some things is love, change your feeling about things. So these are all the the actions that you might have to change, or the non-productive things, or the productive things that you have to change too. They can be thinking, they can be feelings, they can beliefs, they can be actions. It's your list. If you need any help, there's all of us here that you can reach out to. But one by one, you've got to start identifying them and start changing them. Now, you might be somebody that can really change them in a heartbeat and just go, oh, change that one really quickly. I stopped pressing snooze. I just pressed stop. Or maybe I got rid of the snooze altogether in my alarm going off, so then I couldn't even press snooze. So then that took that away. So as soon as I wake up, I get up and I'm into the next thing. Habits are always great when you pair them with another, because they always come with friends. So if you were wanting to give up smoking and you stopped smoking, or you had a cigarette, and maybe beating up comes with that. So a negative action comes with beating up. There's two. So you've got to maybe stop the beating up first, because some actions just require beating up. So when you don't do it, like you don't smoke, and then you're like, okay, I've got to beat myself up about something. No, you've got to start praising yourself. So there's two actions you've got to change. So burn your shitty list. We don't want to see it. We don't need to know what's on it. We just want to know 5 or 10 new productive things that you are going to start doing. Feelings, behaviors, and thoughts. Put up a photo of your list. Maybe if you take a live of you burning, then you will get 2. Maggie, I hope. Remember to tag Maggie and I in it. tag us both. Like I said, my notifications go pretty quick, so if it's just left up to me, I may miss a couple. That's why we double check with Maggie and I. And whatever you burn, you're not allowed to talk about it ever again. So if you burn something that is a negative thing for you, like maybe gossiping and stuff like that, you got to stop doing it. Or you got to stop beating up on yourself. Or you got to stop talking about yourself negatively. You got to stop now. Everything is now. Your future is made up of moments of now. Right, Maggie has sent me a list of all the people that have gone into the draw. Here we go. I said I wanted 69. Oh, we're nearly there. 36. Well done, everybody. Well done. Yesterday we had 9. Today we have 36. So we've 4 times it. Great job. So now if we go 36 times that by, what is there, 60 of you? Maybe 120. There we go. Tomorrow we're going to have 156. There we go. Awesome job. Well done. All right. Let's see who wins this. Hey Siri. Can I please have a number between 1 and 36? 17. Irene Dempsey. Well done. Look at you go. Congratulations. Irene will be sending you out a pack. Remember, everybody, there's the trivia there that you can answer. Remember to keep the chat going. If you have any questions for me, make sure you reach out to your Limitless Lady and she will ask them on Friday. If you need clarification with anything right now, let us know as well. But your ladies will make a list of all the questions that you want me to answer for you on Friday. Have a great day. This is Tuesday. This is day 2. We're only at the beginning. Tomorrow is hump day. And tomorrow I've got a little list here. Tomorrow we're going to talk about attitude and faith. What's the attitude that you turn up with when you've got your goal? Because we can't work towards the attitude. We've got to change right now. So tomorrow we're going to talk about faith and attitude. Okay? Today we did knowing and doing. You know you can do better and you already know what to do, but you're just not doing it. Now you've got to start. You've got a list, you're going to put on your fridge, you're going to put it in your office, you're going to put in your bag, you're going to have it in places to remind you of what to do differently. And then see the changes happen. And if you have any changes happening, please do a post in the Life by Design and tag Maggie and I in it so make sure we see it. Put it in the chat. Keep us up to date with what's going on with you. All right, everybody. Have an amazing day. If you're watching this on replay, remember that we want you to comment and turn up for you. Really, really turn up for you because you're the only one that can. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Love yous all. Bye-bye.